It's a tale as old as time, the powerful, wealthy family who believes their son is marrying beneath his station. They see a young woman who isn't from their elite world, and they assume the worst. They use every weapon at their disposal, money, status, condescension, to tear her down, but sometimes they pick a fight with the wrong person. This is the story of Rachel, a corporate strategist who was dismissed and humiliated by her fiancé's family, only to show them that true power isn't measured in wealth, but in integrity. The air in the palatial living room was thick with contempt. It was a cold, precise feeling that sliced through the room like a blade, a perfect complement to the marble floors and crystal fixtures. Patrick Thornton, the patriarch of the family, drummed his perfectly manicured fingers on a marble coffee table. His lips curled into something between a sneer and a smile as he dismissed Rachel, the woman his son, Oliver, wanted to marry. "A woman your age, from your background, don't you dare dream of joining this family," he said, the words cutting and dismissive. Rachel's engagement ring caught the light from the chandelier, sending fractured rainbows across her knuckles. It was the same hand that had just pushed forward her professional portfolio, a collection of her successes that no one had bothered to open. Across the room, Oliver's shoulders tensed as his mother, Vivian, nodded in smug agreement. Her diamond earrings caught the same light, exposing the contempt in her eyes. "The point is," Patrick continued, examining Rachel as if she were a disappointing investment, "you're simply not the right caliber for the Thornton name. Now, leave." Behind him, a perfectly composed and professionally lit family portrait seemed to watch her with the same dismissive gaze. Rachel's chest constricted as if the room's oxygen was being slowly replaced with ice. Yet her spine remained straight as she reached for her untouched proposal. "My name is Rachel, I'm 34, and I'm a corporate strategist," she said, her voice steady despite the humiliation burning through her veins. "I prioritized my career. It wasn't until I met Oliver that I considered marriage was something I wanted." Patrick scoffed. "Prioritized your career? It's not like your company is particularly impressive. You'll never earn what our family considers acceptable." "Besides," Vivian added, "it's already too late for you to have children, isn't it? We need someone who can give us grandchildren, preferably a woman younger than Oliver." Rachel stood slowly, smoothing her skirt with deliberate care. She saw the Thorntons for who they were, people who measured worth by wealth and status, who were so insulated by their privilege that they treated others with utter contempt. "I see," Rachel said, her voice steadier than she expected. "It's quite telling how you treat someone you've just met. I don't care about your wealth, it's not important to me, but if I ever become rich, I definitely would not want to become like you." "I'd like to see the face of the parents who raised a woman like you," Patrick snapped, his eyes narrowing dangerously. The words triggered something in Rachel's mind, the specific phrase, the particular contempt in his voice. It was a memory she couldn't quite place. She paused at the door, studying his face more carefully. The set of his jaw, the way he tilted his head when angry. She left without another word. As she walked down the winding driveway, Oliver caught up to her, his face flushed with anger and embarrassment. "Rachel, I'm so sorry. I'm leaving them. I'll quit the company too. We don't need them." "Wait," she said, touching his arm. "Don't make such a permanent decision in anger." "I'm not. I love you. We didn't get together for money, so there's no problem if I leave." As they drove away, a plan began to form in Rachel's mind. Patrick Thornton's name and face had triggered something, a conversation with her father years ago. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through her contacts. "Let's go to my parents' house," she said quietly. "I need to confirm something." At her parents' modest living room, Rachel explained what had happened. Her father, a kind and quiet man, listened intently. "Your father's company is called Pinnacle Solutions, correct?" he finally asked Oliver. "And your father is Patrick Thornton?" When Oliver confirmed, Rachel's father nodded slowly. "I thought so," he said, turning to Rachel. "They said they wanted to see the face of the parents who raised you, didn't they?" "Yes," she replied. "I think we should show them." 40 minutes later, they were back at the Thornton mansion. Patrick himself answered the door, his expression hardening when he saw Rachel. "You again? I won't forgive this intrusion." His voice died as his gaze shifted to Rachel's father, standing quietly beside her. Recognition slowly dawned on his face, followed by something Rachel hadn't expected. fear. "Professor Mitchell, is that you?" he stammered. "You finally remembered," Rachel's father said, his voice calm but firm. "She's my only daughter. We had her later in our marriage." Patrick's face had lost its color. The arrogance from earlier was completely gone. Rachel's father's posture straightened the way it did when he was delivering an important lesson. "How dare you insult my precious daughter?" he said. "Have you forgotten what I told you back then when you were caught embezzling from the university fund and falsifying research data? I covered for you. I gave you a chance to become a better person, didn't I? I risked my own reputation to prevent your expulsion." Rachel stared at her father in surprise. He had never mentioned knowing the Thornton family. "And yet, as soon as your company became successful, you forgot everything, didn't you?" he continued. "If you're to lead a company, you need to understand that character isn't measured by wealth. You think you're better than others because you're successful, but you're looking down on people when you should be lifting them up." Vivian appeared in the doorway, her expression confused. "Patrick, what's happening? Who is this?" "This is Professor Mitchell," he replied, his voice strained. "He was my doctoral advisor, the one who prevented my academic disgrace 20 years ago." Understanding flickered across her face, quickly followed by alarm. "First," Rachel's father said, "I want you to apologize to my daughter." "I am sorry, Rachel," Patrick said, bowing his head slightly. Vivian immediately followed suit, and Rachel felt a strange mix of vindication and discomfort. These people who hours ago had treated her like she was beneath them were now deferring to her father. "I'm leaving this house," Oliver announced suddenly, "and I'm resigning from the company." "Wait," his parents said in a panic. "If you leave, who will take over the research division? You're our only child." "I'm done with your control," Oliver replied. "I'm gonna start my own company and see how far I can go with integrity rather than arrogance, and I'm marrying Rachel as I promised." As they left, Rachel glanced back to see Patrick and Vivian standing frozen in their doorway, faces pale with the realization of what they'd lost. In the weeks that followed, Rachel went to work. She called an old colleague who now worked at the Financial Times and gave them a lead on a story about Pinnacle Solutions' questionable research practices. Oliver had confided in her about his ethical concerns and had meticulously documented everything. She didn't want to destroy the company, only to force the Thorntons to change. 2 weeks later, Patrick received a draft of the forthcoming article from Rachel, along with a note. "I believe in second chances, as my father did for you. This article will run unless significant changes are made to company leadership and practices within 30 days. 3 days after that, Oliver received a formal letter from Pinnacle's board offering him the position of ethics director, with autonomy to restructure the research division. The letter included a personal note from Patrick. "Your integrity is what the company needs. The position is yours regardless of any personal decisions you make." Rachel didn't show Oliver the email she had sent his father. Instead, she forwarded the board's offer to her father, who responded with a single line, "He's learning but has far to go about separating business from family." 3 months later, Oliver established his own research consultancy while accepting a limited role at Pinnacle to oversee their ethical reforms. Without his parents' shadow, he flourished, revealing talents even he hadn't recognized in himself. They married in a small ceremony the following spring, with Patrick and Vivian sitting quietly in the back. At the reception, Vivian approached Rachel holding a small gift box. "This belonged to my grandmother," she said, finally meeting Rachel's eyes. "It's traditionally given to the eldest daughter-in-law." Inside was an antique emerald pendant, beautiful and far less valuable than the recognition it represented. 6 months after their confrontation, the Financial Times published a modified version of the article. It was a profile of how Pinnacle Solutions was transforming its corporate culture under new ethical leadership, with Oliver featured prominently. Patrick was quoted, acknowledging past mistakes and committing to better practices. "Success without integrity is ultimately failure in disguise," he said. The article didn't mention their personal connection. Some things remain family matters. Rachel sometimes thinks about that first meeting in their living room, how they dismissed her without knowing who she was or who stood behind her. It's a lesson she carries into her own leadership role. True power isn't measured by wealth or status, but by how you treat others when you think no one important is watching. Her father taught her that integrity matters more than appearances, and that sometimes justice comes not from tearing people down, but from giving them the chance to become better. In the end, Rachel's story is a powerful reminder that our greatest strengths are often not the ones we put on a resume. They're the ones we inherited from the people who raised us, the quiet lessons in character and integrity that prepare us to face down any challenge, no matter how intimidating. And as it turns out, you never really know whose daughter you might be insulting.